Saturday night.
Time for your weekly dose of pop culture
with Kathy and Kenny. Welcome to the show.
Welcome on this Saturday night to Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture. I am Kathy along with my brother Kenny. We're here every Saturday night for it all. We're here for it all. Kenny, how are you doing tonight?
All of it.
All of it.
I'm good. How are you doing?
All of it. Okay. So how are things going?
Things are going pretty good. How are things going with you?
Hey, just another day in the life. Happy to be here. Pretty good day. All is good.
I've had a great week performing. I performed every day this.
You're a little low.
Every
I
day
don't know
this week.
whether you can adjust your volume or not.
Yeah, let me see if I can adjust my volume. Let me see here. Is that better?
Or get closer to the mic. Something. Yeah.
Let me get closer to the mic. I'm getting closer
That's
to the mic.
What? Little too close. All right.
No. You know what? I performed Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and today I went to an open mic. So I'm not performing again until Thursday. So I'm good. I'm good. I need a detox.
Okay. You need to take a break.
I need to take a break. I need to take a
Okay.
break.
Just
And
pause for the
what
cause.
better way to take a break than to sit here with my sister and talk about pop culture?
Pop culture.
And start the night off with pop culture news.
Pop culture news. I need to get a flash or a banner or something for pop culture news. So I got to work on that.
So pop culture news. As we learned last week on Kathy Can Explain Pop Culture Live, Matthew Perry passed away last Saturday, a week ago. His body was laid to rest, I believe, yesterday. All the Friends cast were there, his family and friends were there. But they've established a foundation, has been established in Matthew Perry's honor to help those struggling with addictions.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Now, uh, here's something I came by, and
What?
it, I had to do this in the news because we don't talk about social issues and we don't talk about politics, but we got to start having a Karen segment in pop culture news. Hold on, let me unpack this.
Okay, unpack it.
So, I was never a big Amy Schumer fan.
Okay.
And after this, I'm still not a big Amy Schumer. I'm less of an Amy Schumer fan.
Mm-hmm.
Amy Schumer had to be put in check by none other than Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter. Now, you messed up. If one of the kings got to come out and tell you messed up.
Oh, yikes. Then you in trouble.
So Amy Schumer decided to post a video. She tweeted a video of Martin Luther King Jr. telling a speech in support of Israel.
Okay.
From way back in the 60s. Totally taken out of context on what's going on today. So Bernice King, his daughter, said that if anything, my father would have demanded peace in the region and come up with a peaceful solution. Not that he was for Israel, not that he was for Palestine. It doesn't matter. But with all the bombing, he would have asked for a cease to the bombing. So you can't take something somebody said in 1960 something and apply it to today. And I just can't. I just can't. I like the way, and we don't talk about social issues, But racism is something that I feel very strongly about, as anybody, as I think everybody should. But I don't like the fact when people not of color use something that Martin Luther King said to prove their point when it's an irrelevant point you're trying to prove. It doesn't apply.
I hear you. I hear you. And again, if you're
It
taking something that
frustrated
was
me.
said some, what, 50, 60 years ago, like out of context, it's hard to believe
It's
that
just
Martin Luther King's comments from the 60s would apply to today. And again, it, I'm as I'm learning about this conflict, and that the real kind of struggle is between the radicals, the Hamas and Israel, as opposed to the Palestine people, but they're being put in the middle because
yeah.
you have people, innocent people who are being killed as a part of this war. So just
Yeah,
a
I mean the
peaceful
audacity of Amy
solution.
Schumer to do that. I mean, if people like canceling people, Amy Schumer should be canceled for that shiggity right there and then. Like you don't stop.
Well, I'm see,
Just
I'm not
stop.
a fan of the whole cancel culture. So,
Yeah, I
and I
understand.
and
I get that.
especially for comics. And again, I'm like, keep it with the comedy. And
Yeah.
and again, I don't believe if you're doing something in the context of comedy, that you should be canceled for it. So I didn't
Yeah.
even
No, no,
agree
but
with
this wasn't in
the
the
guy who
context
played
of comedy.
Kramer. I think they canceled him because they didn't like his comedy. And I say that's bull hockey. There are plenty of comics whose comedy I didn't like, who I thought was racist, homophobic, misogynistic, but I still respected their right to perform, to have their freedom of speech, especially on stage and as a
Mm.
comedian. And even as a spoken word artist, I would think you might not agree with
No,
every
I don't.
word
There's a
spoken
lot of
on a
people who come up and when
stage,
I do different
but
things, open mic, I
again,
don't agree with.
I would violently and vehemently defend the rights of people you know, to speak up and express themselves. I don't have to agree
Right.
with you,
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
but hey, that
But
is one
that
of
is
the
that's
privileges
what
and
we have in
pleasures
pop
of
culture
living
news.
in this country.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we have in pop culture news today. But oh man.
Oh, there was another big pop culture news thing this week, and that was the release of a new Beatles song
Oh
featuring
yeah, that's
all
right. That's
four
right.
Beatles, Now and Then. And if you haven't had a chance, go on the Google machine and YouTube, which is part of the Google machine. I think it's all owned by Alphabet or whoever the company name is. But Now and Then on the Beatles channel, you can see not only the backstage, behind the scene processes of how this was done, but also the music video that accompanies it, that has like some uh, archival footage as well as more current footage of Ringo and even Paul laying tracks for this recording. And evidently, it was made possible. And oh, here was the cool thing, I thought, by Peter Jackson, who is the director of, I guess, the Lord of the Rings trilogies, is what he's most famous for. And evidently they had a technology that enabled them to uh, show on or I'm sorry, to record or to isolate the vocals on this track.
Yes.
Because evidently John Lennon sat down at the piano and played this track, and they had tried to work with it in the past when George Harrison was still alive, but the piano was so loud on the tracks they couldn't do it.
Yeah,
But the
but when they
technology
were
is
able to
there, and
do
I
it with
know people
AI,
are so like anti AI,
yeah.
but some of the things that we are able to do with computers, that was one of them, was to
Well,
isolate this vocal from John Lennon to get this song Now and Then.
but this is one of the problems I have. Like I heard about this, I saw the video of it, I saw them putting it together. One of the problems I have with it is that AI is causing such a commotion with so many entertainers on the use of it, and I realized, from what I saw, uh, um, Paul McCartney said he had talked to Yoko Ono,
Hmm.
gotten a tape from Yoko Ono, so and they put it on the Beatles label, and Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney are into it. So this is not a misuse of AI in the form of somebody using an image and not telling the person.
Oh, right, and not
This
given
this
the
is something totally
proper
different, but
attributes. Yeah.
I'm still on a fence because it is AI.
Well, and again, I think, again, don't let's not be too short-sighted. And I know, there's this whole thing with people saying, "Oh no, it's going to be like Terminator 2 and the AI is going to take over." And next thing you know, we're the Matrix and we're just, you know, battery cells for computers. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. And again, the modeling and everything that goes into AI is still driven by humans. And if it is pushing us forward, because if we didn't move forward, would we be able to have these computers in our hands and the technology that we do have access to, uh, everything from cochlear implants, hearing devices, to artificial knees and hips and heart valves and other things that, again, has made life more bearable, and hopefully maybe even giving us solutions to some of the issues that we face, just being us and with the destructive things that we do to this planet. So again, my opinion is kind of AI and, um, the computers, the world, even it'll be here. Now whether we're here, that's another story because of some of the stupidity that we do, but we shall see, we
So
shall see.
tonight,
Hmm.
our show is based on celebrity deaths, based on what happened last week with Matthew Perry.
Because
Celebrity deaths
that kind
that
of rocked
have
me in my boots, because I saw that announcement, and that's my bad too. Because usually during the show, I would turn on like "Do Not Disturb," and for some reason, I didn't have that on. And when that came across the wire, I shared it during the show. But we were going to talk about some of these celebrity deaths that impacted, well, I'm saying the world, and maybe it's only the United States, but I think for some of these celebrities or famous people who passed away, i, I think we kind of limited it to folks who passed within our lifetimes, is because as you were talking about it, and you were talking about how, like, when Rudolph Valentino died, that the impact that it had, and there were certainly a lot of other deaths, even the impact of the assassination of, like, President Kennedy. So we and that wait, what year was that? That might have been before us, but
62.
anyway,
That was before us.
that was before us.
That was before.
But
I think
still,
that
we
was
tried to
62 or
keep it to
63.
our
That was
lifetimes,
before.
and we might not have hit everybody. And there were a couple that you wanted to add, Kenny. So we'll start off with those because I didn't add them to the slideshow because they weren't on the initial list that you sent me. But let's
Okay.
talk about those.
Okay. Well, two of the ones I added on recently as I was tonight I was eating dinner. The first one was John Lennon. John Lennon, that's kind of it was a shocker because he was assassinated. And John Lennon, born in October 9th, 1940, assassinated December 8th, 1980. And I remember looking at that on the news and
Hmm.
everyone being like flabbergasted that this guy shot John Lennon. I
And
remember
you know
being
what? I think it's that part of that cult of celebrity from, carrying out these deaths, almost like with the Manson family and these mass shooters. That seems to be like a very American only problem and crisis, but that these people carrying these acts want to become famous. And I won't even commit that guy's name to my memory because he shouldn't get any fame for
no,
doing
I forgot
such
it.
an
I
evil
really
deed.
honestly I forgot his name, but it is what it is.
Hmm.
So with John Lennon's death, as we talk about the Beatles at the beginning of the show, remastering one of his songs and re-recording, releasing that. that was one that kind of shocked the world, and people are still kind of shocked by John Lennon's death because it was such a tragedy.
Mm.
The other one was one that I should have put on this list first, and I meant to, and I said, oh man, I forgot to put him on here. Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther fame, at one of the great actors of the now of this new generation, passed away. And I think the thing that shocked everyone about that is that no one knew he had cancer. Not even people that were in productions with him knew he had cancer. I
And I guess
remember
he
one
has
of the
suffered with
gentlemen.
it
Hey
for so
Steve, how you
long.
doing? Hey Scooby Life. I mean, one of the gentlemen that was in the Netflix movie he did with Spike Lee. I forget which one it was, but anyway, he said his wife asked him how was it working with Chadwick, and he said, I really don't know. Like he's got a lot of people around him all the time and helping him out and pampering him. He's kind of like, he's a nice guy, but he didn't realize, and this he said this after Chadwick Boseman had died, he didn't realize that during that time as they were filming that in that jungle, he was sick.
Right.
He didn't tell anybody. He was sick. So that was one that kind of shocked everyone, and that made a lot of people sad because this man was a wonderful person, a wonderful actor, and he embodied the role of Black Panther along with a lot of the other roles that he embodied. So that was a good one. That was one that affected a lot of people. But now we're going to start with the list, and
So,
we're going to start off with one of your big conspiracy theory favorites because this one is still
why do you
kind of
say it like that? My big
because you
conspiracy.
because you
Well, I
don't
do
you
have
don't
my
believe
whole
the story on
conspiracy
how
theory around
this
this.
person passed away.
Hmm.
But we're going to talk about Natalie Wood, born July 20th, 1938, and was found dead of drowning on November 29th, 1981.
Right. And I guess the thing with this was that um, she was kind of afraid of the water, and that was one of her biggest fears. So the fact that she drowned, uh, I guess, was a big deal because that was one of her like biggest fears was the fear of drowning. So, but I also wanted us to feature this one because I think not I think I remember this happened like over they were traveling on the Catalina Islands during uh, Thanksgiving holiday weekend. But one of the things I do know that was impactful, at least in recent history, is just the rise of like a Entertainment Weekly magazine or Entertainment Tonight, that the whole idea of celebrity news coverage. This story, I think, really kind of expanded on that and really brought out like an Entertainment Tonight TV show that was barely getting ratings, really hit a ratings juggernaut by covering Natalie Wood and her death and the mystery that surrounded it. Don't get me started on my theories because I have them, and we might never really know the truth. Although, wait, Christopher Walken is still around. He was on Saturday Night Live like a couple weeks ago, last week, I think, introducing the Foo Fighters. He knows what happens. But anyway, uh, I won't go on with my theory, but I have them.
Next
If
on
you
our
have a
list
Natalie
is
Wood drowning theory, put it in the comments because I'm sure she was murdered. But
next on our list is Elvis Presley.
Elvis, all right, Elvis.
All right, Elvis. January 8th, 1935 to August 16th, 1977. Now, Elvis
I don't
passed
work on
away.
January the 8th. You remember what movie that was from?
What'd you say?
I don't work on January the 8th.
I don't know what movie that's from.
It's I know it's such a random rare line, but there was a movie from the 80s. It was horrible. It was called DC Cab. It
Oh yeah,
featured
I don't.
Charlie Bennett,
Yeah,
this incredibly
that
funny
was.
comic who actually had a spot on Saturday Night Live, but could not read. He was illiterate and he couldn't read the cue card, so he lost that spot. Bill Maher. There was a ton of Marsha Warfield. just a ton of comics, up and coming comics in this really ragtag kind of crappy movie called DC Cab, and Irene Cara. So I actually went. Um,
But Elvis passed away in the bathroom.
See, Steve agrees with me on Natalie Wood. She definitely wasn't going for a swim, not in the middle of
No,
the night,
no,
not after
no.
they had been drinking. There was something foul, something amuck, and I'm just sus, because and it turns out that Robert Wagner winds up marrying his co-star. Hmm, stuff's not right. It's just not right. But okay, let's go on.
So Elvis passed away. Drugs were involved. He was in the bathroom. So Elvis was actually I think during that time he was trying to make a little bit of a comeback to the scene,
Don't call it a
and
comeback. Oh, sorry. Sorry. You just
yeah. And Elvis,
I'm just
when Elvis passed away, a lot of people went to Graceland. A lot of people migrated to Graceland to be there for Elvis. And now, Elvis has been dead since '77. People are still having Elvis sightings and think he's still alive and this, that, and the other. And the thousands of impersonators that are around
oh yeah.
is just, yeah. Next, we have Princess Diana. Now, what the tragic thing about this, July 1st, 1961 to August 31st, 1997, the tragic thing about this is this woman had a hard time when she was married to the now king. She had a hard time with the family,
Mm-hmm.
and she wanted just to live her own life, I believe. In the process of trying to live her own life, paparazzi just followed her around everywhere, snapping pictures. She's one of those people. She's probably one of the first victims of paparazzi just following you around and just harassing the hell out of you. And she was trying to get away from that paparazzi, and that's what caused the car accident. I remember when she passed away in '97. I think I was in '97. I was in a club. I was in a bar or club trying to do some dancing. I looked up and they're like, Princess Diana died.
You know
So
what? I had a gig. I think it was either in New Hampshire or it was somewhere in New England because I remember uh, uh, I was doing a comedy gig at the time. I don't think I was on stage when the news hit, but I remember being up in either New Hampshire or Massachusetts. It was someplace in New England where I was doing a gig, and it's very like really scenic little college town, and I was staying at a B&B.
So that is Princess Diana, and may she rest in peace because that was just horrible. She was just trying to have a life and get away.
And I think that probably had more of a world or global impact too, because not just in the UK, I think people felt it here in America and like all across the world, because
Yes.
there was something about her persona and her personality that seemed very, I guess, I don't want to say unroyal, but very connected to like, I guess, the common people or common folk.
Yeah.
I don't,
And
I'm
that's
not saying it
that's what they
right,
say about
but
her.
you know what
That
I'm saying.
she was more like a common person, less like a royal, and that's
Hmm.
what that I think that was what her appeal was.
Yeah,
Of
but it
course,
was
the
something
next
about
one
her
we have is
compassion and
Matthew
her
Perry.
humanity, I think, that really you didn't see in a lot of other royals that people related
Yes,
to, identified with, and that was why they liked her so much.
and
But
I
you
think
didn't
that
have that
carried over to
everywhere.
her sons, and to an extent,
Hmm.
because they're a little bit more human acting sometimes than the other royals.
Mm.
So I think they kind of learned from their mother. So next we have, of course, is Matthew Perry, who passed away last week, August 19th, 1969 to October 28th, 2023. About this is that he was everybody's friend because worldwide everyone watched Friends, and when Matthew Perry died, Chandler Bing is dead. Nobody could believe that. Especially, a year ago he came out with his book, and his book says that I should be dead, but
I think that's how the
yeah,
book starts or something. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's how the book starts. and luckily he was able to put that book out before he passed away. He did have an addiction problem, but there were no drugs in his system at the time.
Mm.
Apparently, it seems like he had a heart attack and drowned.
Wow.
That's what it looks like happened.
And to me, that's got to be the hardest thing when you think about people who do make that change and leave addiction behind and straighten up their lives. And but again, because the wear and tear that drugs and alcohol can take on your body, that you know you don't get to enjoy the sobriety. And I think that's really what's kind of sad. And again, like you said, he was everybody's friend, probably the most popular or most beloved character on the show because, it's like, although I know,
He was so funny.
Phoebe
He was
was a lot of
so
people's
hilariously funny.
favorites because she was so ditzy, and Joey too. But Ross and Rachel, sometimes they would get on my nerves. Monica and her OCD was a little too much, but Chandler Bing with just the sarcastic one-liners. I'm sorry, he was the man. He was
Well, Phoebe was probably my second favorite.
Phoebe. Yeah.
Phoebe, you know. So the next one, the next two I'll put together
Okay.
because it kind of goes hand in hand. Uh, Biggie Smalls,
Mm-hmm.
Notorious B.I.G. from May the 21st to 1970, May 21st, 1972 to March the
March.
9th, 1997, and
Mm-hmm.
Tupac Shakur, January the 16th, 1971 to September 13th, 1996. So back in the 90s, there was a whole East Coast, West Coast thing, and
Stupidness.
Tupac
I'm
and
sorry.
Biggie started off as friends. We didn't get to
Oops.
him yet. Started off
I'm
as
sorry.
friends.
I'm
We ain't gotten
jumping
there yet.
ahead.
Started off as friends and collaborators as such, and kind of worked together and became enemies along the way. Probably people talking in their ear and East Coast, West Coast nonsense. You know, Tupac takes a picture with Faith Evans, Biggie's wife, and kind of makes some innuendos, and it all goes from there. So Tupac gets shot in a drive-by, and he has a fight in a Las Vegas casino with someone, and he gets his car, and mind you, he passed away. He was killed in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
Just last month, they arrested someone for the murder of Tupac Shakur, who I
Oh yeah,
hear
we talked
is,
about it. The guy who actually
yeah,
um, kind of confessed to being in the car at the time.
but
So
he
but
had more, a
he
little bit
claims he's
more to
not
do
the
with it.
trigger man.
No, he might have been a trigger man. He had
Uh,
a lot more to do with it, and he is having a hard time getting representation because he can't afford representation,
mhm.
and he doesn't like the representation they keep giving him. So pretty soon the court's going to have to look. You're going to have to take this person as your representation, and that is it. So
You're gonna have
in
to
the
take what
event,
you can get.
you're going to have to
Next
take what you
time,
get,
don't.
man. You ain't got no
I'm
money,
sorry, my chair
and you
fell
ain't got no
down.
chance because this is a murder we've been trying to solve for over 30 years. So when Tupac was killed, people thought, it might have been Suge Knight who did it, even though Suge Knight was with him. It might have been Diddy had something to do with it, or Biggie. And it was that speculation at that time, I remember. Then a year later, a little over a year, less than a year later, in March of 97, Biggie is killed.
Mm.
Biggie goes to California, and people told him because of the beef with Tupac and what just happened to Tupac, he was told he probably shouldn't go to Cali. And Biggie is like, man, I'm from Brooklyn.
Didn't listen.
What? So Biggie went to Cali, and he wound up getting killed. I think there was a Soul Train Awards show that weekend that he was at. So That's the whole Tupac and Biggie. Now that rocked the world because it was the first. It was two murders of two of the biggest names in hip hop at the time.
Hmm.
So two of the biggest names, and the thing with it is that this is so impactful because Tupac and Biggie are still revered as some of the greatest MCs of all time. So this Tupac and Biggie murder still have an impact today. And next we're talking about Robin Williams. Robin Williams is the funny man. He is known as being a very spontaneous funny man, off the cuff. There is now we talk about Matthew Perry. There was a scene in Friends with him and Billy Crystal where they just came in and improvised the whole scene, and it was one of the funniest openings that Friends ever had. But Robin Williams, born in July 21st, 1951, committed suicide. I said I wrote typed it wrong. You typed it wrong, but committed suicide and September, August the 11th,
Oh,
2014.
oh, okay.
What's true?
Saugus. I, I, I can't type. I changed it to Saugus
Yeah,
instead of August.
yeah. So August the 11th, 2014, Robin Williams
Sorry about that,
apparently
Robin
suffered
Williams.
from a lot of depression,
Yeah,
which I
and
don't know if you know
again,
this, a lot of performers
you
do.
know what?
And
There
he,
were a couple of celebrity deaths or suicides, and I think, oh gosh, who was the guy from? Oh goodness, Scooby Life. You probably know the a singer. I'm thinking of the band, uh, Black Hole Sun. Chris Cornell, I think, was another one that was a suicide. And here's the thing: I'm just I worry or am concerned because I know right now if something is wrong with you, usually you would go to the doctor and the doctor would prescribe something. But now we got television commercials telling us about all these different symptoms and, you know, Revexi and Viralde and, go talk to your doctor about all this kind of stuff. And I just worry that who knows what some of that medication is actually doing to our mental state that we would get to the point um, and I believe it was what's called Lewy body syndrome or some form of dementia that I guess Robin Williams had and didn't want to suffer you know, the inevitable decline is I think one theory about why he ended his life. But I also do worry too because even though some of the funniest comedians that we know and that we love that they don't always have the funniest of life, that is a lot of pain behind a lot of that laughter, and that we really need to always make sure we're paying attention to that and addressing that. That's just me
okay, so
talking.
Scooby Life was let us know that Robin Williams had Lewy body's disease,
Hmm.
Lewy body's disease. So thank you for letting us know that. Next on the list is Aaliyah, and
Oh,
and
Aaliyah. I
and
remember
one of the
Aaliyah.
reasons I'm putting this on here because it kind of Aaliyah was in a plane crash. She was, I believe, in the Bahamas, and she was filming a video January 16th, 1979 to August 25th, 2001. She
That time
was
I got
in,
August right.
yes, and she was in Bahamas, I believe, filming the video. Her and her crew came back. The plane apparently was overloaded and had too much weight in it, and the plane was caused the crash.
Yeah, I remember when that happened. And you know what? And I know this singer isn't on the list, but I think her death was shocking as well. Was Selena, and that was because she was
Yes.
murdered by a fan, and I know that really rocked like the whole pop culture because she was just about to break kind of like big on like I think more of a global scene rather than just a Latin music scene. Right when she was killed and killed by allegedly a fan or you know someone who was in charge of her fan club. which I think that kind of rocked the world. And also, and I just thought of these two too as we were talking about Aaliyah, and I think more was probably learned about Aaliyah like after her death. That at 15, at one point she was married to R. Kelly, but then if we could go down another whole R. Kelly rabbit hole that I would rather not. Um, but also Left Eye from TLC.
Yes.
That was one that kind of took us aback. And oh, Scooby Life has given us some more information. Yes, that's the other guy I was trying to think of, Chester Bennington, and also from Lincoln Park, and Chris Cornell. And again, I kind of agree with you on that one, Scooby Life. Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm not saying I'm nobody's medical doctor, but hey.
No, it wasn't
Oh,
her
hey.
manager, Nerd Affiliate. It wasn't her manager that killed her. It was someone that was a manager of one of her fan clubs. So it wasn't her manager. It was someone that had to do with her fan club.
Yeah, I think it was someone.
Yeah,
I
president of
I
the fan
think
club or something like that.
right.
Yes.
Not. Oh my gosh.
So
Well, because wait a minute, if you're a manager, you're not going to kill your number one client. Let's hope,
yeah,
unless you're
you're not
crazy.
going to.
Oh, you know
That's
what? Remember that? I don't remember the movie. I think it was called Star 80. I know Eric Roberts starred in the movie version of this,
I didn't see
where
that
the guy
movie.
was managing his wife and she was like a Playboy model, but I think he wound up killing her. But again, that's that whole love makes you crazy kind of thing. So, but yeah. You don't remember that story or that movie, Star 80?
No, no,
Why
I
are you
never
looking
saw
at me
Star
like I'm
80.
crazy?
Yeah, because I
Anyway, we will move on.
So next comes someone from one of my favorite franchises, Paul Walker from the Fast and Furious franchise.
Oh, yes.
And this is so tragic because Paul Walker was. Um,
He was beautiful. Oh my God, those blue eyes. Lord have
I'm not
mercy.
going to say it was
Or blue
beautiful, but
green, greenish eyes.
from what
I
I heard from
you know
lots of
what?
reports from people,
And
he was
I
a
know you're
nice
the
guy.
Fast and Furious fan, but oh my gosh, if you remember Paul Walker from Pleasantville, he was just
Yes,
so adorable.
yes,
How could you not love Paul
yes.
Walker? Come
I
on.
like when he finally
No
saw
relation.
colors. It was great. But Paul Walker, September 12th, 1973 to November 30th, 2013, he was at an exhibition or something like that for cars. He got into this car and it was a professional driver, and the car got into an accident and he pretty much burned alive.
Ugh,
So, which is very tragic.
that's just a
Very
horrible,
tragic. From what
horrible.
I remember hearing, Nick, you can hear the screams of this man, and it was very, and it's very. I guess I don't know that he did these Fast and Furious movies. They did give him a send off in the Fast and Furious movies. They didn't kill the character. They did not kill the character.
Hmm.
The character actually is still alive in the Fast and Furious movies. He just hasn't been seen since number 7, and now we're on number 10, going on number 11. So he hasn't been seen in 3 or 4 movies, but
What? Oh, okay.
he's still alive. They haven't killed his character off. Next one, go to Heath Ledger.
Heath
Heath
Ledger.
Ledger, April 4th, 1979 to January 22nd, 2008. Heath Ledger apparently died from a drug overdose.
Wow.
Heath Ledger was having some problems. A lot of people say a lot of that had to do with his last role that he completed, because he did have, I think he had 1 or 2 roles after that that weren't completed. His last role he completed was Batman,
Hmm.
The Dark Knight, which he played the Joker. There's some claims that the Joker character kind of messed with him a little bit and things that the Joker had to believe. I don't know if I believe that or not. They said he was trying to immerse himself into the Joker character.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's kind of hard to say.
Well, and again, I think, and like we're talking Heath Ledger, but there were a couple other actors too who, again, on the surface, for what we saw, would have no idea what they're doing dealing with, like for instance, a Corey Monteith from the Glee, and then who's the other guy I'm thinking of? Gosh, I can't. He was in the Hunger Games, and he was in.
Oh,
Oh,
yes. I
help
know who
me
you're
out,
talking about. I
Scooby
can't
Life, if
remember
you
his
know.
name. I
Oh
know exactly who
gosh,
you're talking about.
you know who I'm talking about. Why is his
I know who
name
you're talking
escaping
about. I
me?
can see him because he was in
Because
Boogie
I
Nights
remember
also.
him in the Hunger Games, and because I think that was the last movie he had worked on. Um, he was in this pirate radio movie where they were DJs on ships off of the um Isles of Britain because you couldn't play rock and roll on the regular radio stations. Come on, what is his name? Oh my
I don't
gosh,
know.
he's in everything. Philip
Yeah, I know.
Seymour Hoffman.
There you go. There you go.
That is a brain spasm, brain fart like you wouldn't believe. That's when you know you're getting old. Or maybe I
So
shouldn't have a glass of Marlowe before the show.
Heath Ledger from Batman fame, Brokeback Mountain fame, 10 Things I Hate About You, which I love that movie.
I can't
You
quit
know,
you.
yes. So uh, next on our list is Whitney Houston.
And I.
No, 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 no,
Okay.
no, no. Mm-mm,
How
mm-mm,
can you not say Whitney and not?
mm-mm. Whitney Houston, August 9th, 19th. We're going to act like that never even happened. August 9th, 1963 to February 11th, 2012. Whitney Houston was found dead in her bathtub,
Now, was
possible
her
drug
cause of
overdose.
death drowning or?
I don't know whether it was drowning like the Carter kid,
Mm,
but I believe there was drugs involved, and she was found in the bathtub.
mm-hmm.
At the time, I remember at the time when she passed away, I was writing for a radio station. I was writing pop culture content for a radio station at the time. And I actually quit the radio station that I was writing for because they had other people writing for them too. And I thought their journalism tactics were just kind of unethical
Mm-hmm.
because this woman wrote a long story on how Whitney Houston's death is tied to some celebrity Illuminati. And once Nicki Minaj performed at an awards show, that was a cue for Whitney to die. I don't know. But I'm like, this is not news.
Okay.
Like, what are you running
This
here?
is some
Oh, well, this is what the
conspiracy
people want.
theory on
Kenny,
a
this is what
deep,
I
deep
said. Well, they won't
level.
want it without me.
I,
I quit.
I guess to me the bad thing is for certain celebrities when we like as fan as public as a public, I think I don't know, is our desire to 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 have a piece of these people or to know everything about these people the thing that drives them to their self-destruction. And
It could be.
because to me, and I think of that first album and when she first came out, and this just amazing voice and talent, and man, I, I know you hate Tay Tay, but my gosh, it has to be hard to be a young person, someone in your teens, getting amazing success, fame, money, all this, you know, idol
Well, that
worship
was one of
thrown
the
at
things.
you, and dealing with it without you know, falling in with the wrong people and relying on drugs and not having that confidence in your talents and your abilities to, to be centered, to be like,
Well, that was one of the things. That was one of the things with Matthew Perry. His celebrity caused him to go to drinking and
mhm.
drugs.
but
Next on our
but it
list
can't
is going to
all
be.
well, hold on, Kenny. Let's just back up that boot. That's yeah, back that up because there are some celebrities who have dealt with it with some tact and decorum and are still around, and may have had their problems with drugs and have overcome it. But I think there's other stuff that goes into it, and I'm not saying oh yeah, his parents were divorced or whatever, but I think there's something else at the core of maybe who you are, or your feelings about yourself, or what the things we don't talk about that have to do with
Yeah,
mental
I
health.
think that has something to do with it because not everyone is the same. Not everyone has the same strengths that other people have in order to
Hmm.
deal with certain things. There are certain celebrities who don't do drugs and don't drink or anything at all.
Right.
And there's certain celebrities who stay kind of family oriented and family based and don't do certain things. There's a rapper, man, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, who says in his raps that if you book me for a show and my wife and kids can't come, I can't come either.
Okay.
So, and his raps are
So,
like
and again,
hard,
I
and you
think,
wouldn't think he's really gangster, but he goes, but you realize you listen to it, he doesn't really curse, and he
mhm,
goes, if I can't bring my wife and kids, then I ain't coming.
right.
So, certain people know how to stay away from that type of thing. Certain people don't. Certain people know
And
how to
then I think
handle that type of
sometimes it's the
thing.
people around you. Like I know A.
Yes.
Archer was saying it was the manager who killed Selena, and it was actually the manager of a fan club. But sometimes if you don't have the right people around you or in your circle or in your orbit that are doing the right things for you and by you, oh yeah, it could be a fast track to yeah, to some bad shiggity. Anyway,
So next we have Kobe Bryant.
Mamba.
August 28th, 1978 to January 26th, 2020. The thing that really think struck, number one, it was Kobe Bryant. And
And I think
this
this
was
is
a
the only
helicopter.
athlete on our list, right?
Yes.
Most of
This
it's
was a helicopter
musicians.
accident that uh, took everyone by surprise. One of the tragic things about this is that one of his daughters was on the plane, on the helicopter with them, and she also happened to die that day too. And that was, I
A-
think, one of the
As
more
well
tragic
as, I mean,
things.
and not just, I know, and again, this is like the thing with Farrah Fawcett dying on the same day as Michael Jackson. One gets overshadowed. And I know, the world grieved and really felt the pain and loss for Kobe Bryant. But I believe there were like 11 other people who passed that also included families because as a
Yes,
part of the basketball team his daughter was on, some of her teammates and their families also perished. So
yes.
even though the world, you know, really felt the loss of Kobe Bryant and what he brought to the game, um, eh, there were others that were lost as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there and include that in.
So we're going to hit our top two, and I put these two in these positions for certain reasons. Um, Next on the list is Prince. June 7th, 1958 to April 16th, 2016. Prince is my icon and personal hero. When this happened this day, I was in the office. This is pre-COVID, of course. I was in the office and I was working, and I had my head. I usually, when I'm in the office, I have my headphones on. I tune everybody out. Don't talk to me. Leave me alone. I got nothing to communicate with. We are coworkers, not friends. So
You're just like, that's it.
we are acquaintances, not friends. We
I don't
don't
know
need
you
all the
like
small
that.
talk. Or, hey, how you doing? This morning, hey, how was your weekend? Yada yada yada. Keep it moving. My buddy, one of my was my friend, sat next to me, Leroy, and on the other side of Leroy, on the cubicle on the other side, was Beth, who had worked with my father in the same company years before. I was listening, and you know how you listen, the song goes down. As the song was going down, I heard Paisley Park, a body in Paisley Park, and I heard Leroy say, "Don't tell Kenny," because everybody knows what a big fan I am. And I took off my headphones. Don't tell Kenny what? He goes, "Oh man, hey Kenny, they found a body in Paisley Park." And I'm like, "No, they didn't." "Yeah, they did." I said, "Well, it's not Prince. Damn it, it's not Prince." Lo and behold, it was Prince. I'm getting calls. You called me. Mom called me. Damon called me. Mike called me. Beth called me. George called. I'm getting calls from my kids and everybody. You'd have thought I knew the man personally.
That's how big a fan you were.
I am a big fan. I still am to this day a huge Prince fan. This is why I
Well,
got purple lights, man.
well, did you call? I was about to go run in the park one Saturday morning, and you called asking was I all right? I'm like, I'm fine. What's going on? You're like, oh, Irene Cara died because I was, or like, who called me? So, I think Aunt Mary called me when Tina Marie died, and she was
Yeah,
crying, and I'm like, okay.
I'm not in the will.
Yeah, exactly. They ain't leave me no money, no royalties. Come on.
I'm not in the will. I'm good.
I mean, I feel
I'm
bad
gonna
and
miss you,
all,
but yeah,
but come on.
So Prince apparently from you know being short wore heels a lot. And anybody who's seen Prince on TV or anybody, I've seen his concerts twice. Anybody who's seen any Prince concert, Prince does a lot of dancing, a lot of jumping around, a lot of splits. This led to him having to have hip surgery, doing all that on heels because he would jump from high speakers and jump to the ground with these high heels on. I can't even walk in heels when I tried it, when I dressed in drag one time. I don't know how you jumped around and did splits in them. I couldn't look. When the girls dressed me up in drag that one time, I couldn't even drive my car in heels. How this man managed to jump over amplifiers and do splits and everything else and jump on top of piano, I don't know. But in any event, he had too many enablers on his payroll. Probably so. Probably so. And the next person had a lot of enablers too, and that's what killed him. But Prince was taking medication, opioids, I believe, for the pain of the hip surgery that he did have. And apparently he got sick a few days before that, and they had to do an emergency landing with his plane. Then I guess he was in Paisley Park and he overdosed on the opioids and he passed away. And the world to me will never be the same without Prince.
Yeah. I know. I was saying. I think last week one of the pieces of information that came out in Matthew Perry's biography after his. I mean, it was in his biography, but his opioid addiction was so bad that it kind of messed up the lining of his stomach. Like he had to have emergency
Yes.
surgery at one point because, again, of what it could do to you. Now, finishing off our list as we round up and close out our show, of course, is none
Michael
other. And
Jackson.
I took young Michael only because that was my favorite Michael back in the
I love
day.
Michael.
But
I love Michael. I love little Michael. Michael
oh
Jackson,
wait,
April
Tom
29th,
Petty? I
1958.
was Tom Petty's death an overdose? I didn't know
I
that.
don't think Tom Petty died of an overdose.
I didn't
I
think
thought he
so
just had,
either. I
I
thought it
had
was
to
a
check
heart
that
attack
out.
or
I don't
something.
think Tom Petty, I didn't think he did.
Oh wow.
Well, Michael Jackson passed away on June 25th, 2009, which is actually, when we talk about overshadowing, the same day that Fab Fawcett passed away. But she passed away early in the day. Then later that afternoon, Michael Jackson passed away. And that was pretty much for the next 5 days. That's all you heard about on the news.
See, Scooby Life and I, we sync on so many things. I'm gonna have to make a trip to California because we just need to hook up and hang out. But
Can I
yeah,
go? I just want to hang out with
young
the
and
dogs.
teenage Michael, my fave
I don't want to hang out with Scooby Life. I want to hang out with the dogs.
as
I'm good.
You know, actually, if I had to have a dog, I would want a golden retriever, but I hope the hair length wouldn't be. I think it's short enough so I wouldn't have to worry about allergies because my allergies
Yeah,
are so
I want a
bad.
dog so bad, but I can't have one right now. I'm gonna get one eventually when I retire. But in any event, so Scooby Life, we're coming. Kathy's gonna hang out with you. I'm gonna hang out with the dogs. We're coming to California.
Well, the invitation's open. Come on out.
Yeah,
Come
the
on out.
invitation's open. There you go. There you go. We gotta find a place to stay. Good place
I
to
thought
stay.
I'd finally get to meet, Hey Archer, but I was all the way up in Massachusetts, but he was at Comic Con. Yes.
So
If
get a rescue. Yes, I
if
probably
you
will.
are going to get a dog, get a rescue dog.
Yes, I
Uh,
probably will get a rescue. So let's talk
yes.
about Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jackson passed
Michael
away
Jackson, I'll be there.
on the
I'll be
29th, on the
there. Okay, I'll
25th of
stop singing.
June,
Sorry.
2009. And that was him trying to get some sleep. The doctor over medicated him because Michael Jackson had the money and the power to say, if you don't do the way I want it done, then I'm just going to get somebody else that's going to say yes and do it.
Mm.
So the doctor did it. The family took him to court. The doctor wound up going to jail. It's a whole big thing, but Michael Jackson is no longer with us. I'm going to tell you a funny story. I remember when we were kids, we had 5 goldfish, and we called them the Jackson
You're
Five.
not telling the goldfish story. Oh my God.
Yes, we had 5 goldfish, and we called them the Jackson Five.
Okay.
Whichever goldfish died, it wasn't Michael.
Of course.
Who knew?
Another goldfish died. Oh, that's not Michael. Oh, you know what? That
Yep,
was our
there
least
you go.
favorite Jackson. That was probably Marlon. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Michael Jackson passed away, and the whole world cried because Michael Jackson really was a worldwide phenomena that everyone knew. Despite the allegations against him, he was still that guy that everyone knew worldwide, like all over the place. You could play a Michael Jackson song. At one point, they said you could play a Michael Jackson song almost anywhere, and he would be recognized because that's how Michael Jackson affected the world. So when he passed away, the whole world was, and just like Elvis, you have all the imitators of Michael Jackson, people going out trying to dance like Michael Jackson still. I remember when I was a kid and we did
Evi-
assembly in first grade and we used to do the Jackson Five and I was always Michael.
and evidently his nephew is going to be playing him in a upcoming biopic. Um, uh, one of his nephews. I don't know
I, I
whose
hope it
son it
I hope
is.
it, the biopic does Michael justice
Mm-hmm.
because I, for one, I don't want to get into it. I don't believe in all the allegations.
Okay. And
I don't
Steve,
believe the
I'm sorry
allegations
for the
at
loss of
all.
your cousin, but he's saying that his nephew rather, his nephew PJ was a huge fan of Michael Jackson and passed away on his birthday, which was August 31st. So Steve, sorry for your
Sorry
loss.
to hear that, Steve. Sorry about that. But
But
you know,
this
Michael.
episode was kind of a downer. I just gotta say.
What? No, it's just
But
it
and
wasn't
I
supposed to be
guess
a total downer.
not
This
a
is
total
just the
downer
death, the
because we
celebrity
got
death
to
and shot.
remember
But
some of the celebrities and people who did have such an impact that when they did pass, like again, it was felt through the media, um, through the fans that they had, whether it was a Kobe Bryant, whether it's Elvis, Michael Jackson, Prince, um, Lady Di, that those deaths really impacted the world. And I mean, there have been so many other people,
yes,
who have passed,
Brittany
and
Murphy,
mhm,
Kurt Cobain,
right, because I was telling
of
you
just being
when
off
we
the
were
list.
talking about this topic that I actually remember where I was. I was on a crosstown bus with my friend Nancy Pollock when we heard about Kurt Cobain's death, and you know again, it just kind of rocked me because I think he fell under that 27,
Yes, he
age
did.
27. Like there
Yes,
are
he
a
did.
bunch of
Yes, he did.
musical greats and maybe not so greats that all passed away at 27, like Jimi Hendrix, like Amy Winehouse. Like just there's like a list of
Yeah.
27-year-olds.
And I think the youngest person that I didn't put on the list that was in a couple of places
Mhm.
that was shocking deaths of celebrities was Cameron Boyce.
Cameron
He was a
Boyce.
Disney. He was a Disney star, and he
Okay.
was growing up real big as a Disney star, and he was in a lot of things, and he had his own. He was in a sitcom and everything else, and he just passed away from a seizure.
Oh
He had
wow.
some medical problems and passed away. But a lot of the people with kids probably know who exactly I'm talking about. People who watch
Okay.
Disney, they know who I'm talking about. Cameron Boyce.
So next week we are back as we are every single Saturday night, 8:30
Never
Eastern
left.
Standard Time. Tonight, don't forget to be like, share, and turn back time.
Turning back time.
Now, if I can't sing, Lord have mercy. But we have that whole daylight savings time mess to deal with. Uh
Yeah,
oh yeah, Scott Whalen, yes. And Lane Stanley, not Stanley, Staley. Who, who what group was that? Cuz the name sounds familiar, but I
I
can't put
can't.
the
I can't
pieces
picture. I
together
can't.
right
I
now
can't. I can't. I can't do
cuz
it.
I'm that slow person. I'm that slow adult this Saturday night. Uh hey Kathy, your mic has been low the last couple of episodes. Ooh, all right, I gotta play with my mic. See, and in my ears, Kenny's mic was sounding low, so I will
Am I
adjust.
low, y'all?
Uh, Lord have mercy. Okay, that's the ticket. All right, I have set up in my new house. I have a new studio. I still need help because my studio is not set up. I dare not show you what you can't see because it's a hot mess. But I still have to work on getting everything tuned in and dialed in. Okay. Oh, and I'm still low. Uh, you know what? Now I'm kicking myself because I probably should have brought that SM7DB, but I keep sticking with the pod mic, and maybe I need to make a change. So I am going to work on that. I have the mic sitting lower, so maybe I need to get a higher stand or raise it up. So I'm gonna work on it.
I thought you had a boom.
I did have a boom mic, but I don't know where to put it up in the studio. I'm still, it's not all together. It's not all together. I gotta get. It'll be together one day. One day, someday soon. So, what are we
So,
talking about next
excuse
week,
me.
my friend, my brother?
Before we talk about next week, um, before we talk about next week, though, I want you to. Kenny is louder, but the whole thing is low. I'm all the way up on TV.
Huh. All right. I gotta.
So before we talk about next week, though, I want everyone who's looking at our podcast or check it out on next Tuesday or check it out after the fact on YouTube. Please, if you like what we're doing here, please give us a like, give us a thumbs up, like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube. Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture. We're
All the
all over the
things.
place. We do this for the fun, and we love doing it. We love coming with you with pop culture things every week, and we love talking to some of our regulars like Scooby Life, Steve, Kirsten. I don't know if she's out there. Ed Brown. Nerd affiliation comes through, so we appreciate everyone who comes through. Please tell a friend. Come back again. Like us. If we can get more likes on YouTube, that'd be awesome. And that's pretty much it. Next week,
Next week.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
No idea.
Again,
But we'll work on the volume so that you can at least hear it.
yeah,
I
we
will
don't
let
know what
you
we're going
know.
to talk about, but you're going to be able to hear it.
That's
Well, you know what, Scooby Life, I'm in real life, I'm loud.
loud and wrong usually, but loud. But we'll be back next week. We will all see
Yeah.
you then. Peace.
God bless your soul and keep living. Peace.
Thank you for geeking out with Kathy and Kenny on Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture.